welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Jake Dreier with HiLabs, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. And today I have the pleasure with speaking with Krister Johnson, who is the Chief Analytics Officer at Healthfirst. Krister, welcome.
Welcome, Jake. Nice to be here.
What advice would you give other leaders that are trying to build out their teams that can be those unique, innovative bridge builders that are building bridges that have typically not been built before, and it's a new type of bridge that the industry hasn't really seen before? Talk to us how how you've built your team capable of doing that, and what advice you'd give other leaders that are.
Before I answer your question, I have to laugh because I love the fact that you were using the bridge, because our current MLOps framework, it's actually called Bridge 2.0.
Okay, there you go.
That's really funny that you said that. I was laughing the whole time you were saying that. Look, building a team can be a challenge. I think here's what I can tell you about the culture of data scientists. There's a lot of data scientists out there. You need to kind of make sure that you're building a team, not just with data analysts or people who know how to do visualization. You got to have plenty of those people who can do that, but you got to have a core really strong data science function that understands the math, and it's that group that there's things like MLOps engineers and important. But you also got to think about how are your data scientists and people going to interact with your information management and your data management and all of your data engineers. So it's a pretty wide collection of different skill sets, and you're never going to find people that know all the skills. So you've got to kind of, it's a mosaic. Putting together a really strong analytics and IT, you're putting together a mosaic, and it needs to start with hire the right leaders, those people that really know how to engage with the people with these skill sets. A lot of this crowd, they obviously, it's probably not surprising that a lot of these people are really comfortable working at home, doing their thing. So you got to be a little bit more flexible on where people work. We have definitely, over the course of the last year, really started recruiting data scientists from all over the country. And so geography is less and less important, thanks to Zoom, just like as we're talking about here. So that's all important. But I believe, and this is some people, you really have to convince everybody as you're building these teams of two key things. The first is we are 100% focused on creating value. If you can't tie any work that you're doing, whether it's writing some queries, building a model, building a visualization dashboard, whatever, if you can't tie what you're doing directly to the key value statements that we're trying to accomplish as an organization, then come talk to me, and I promise that we'll figure out how to do it. And if we can't link what you're doing to the real value that we're trying to achieve based on those metrics, we'll get you working on something else. So I think there's that's what most people in the data science space, I think, want. They want to feel that their work has impact, that when they build a model that they're going to get a chance to operationalize it, and it's going to actually be used to drive actions, and their business stakeholders value it. And so figuring out how to kind of convince everybody and build that, I guess, that comfortable reassurance that the things that you're doing from a data science perspective actually mean something, that's really important. The second thing is, you got to kind of lean into this, right? The data science space, you'd be amazed at some of the big tech companies that are recruiting some of my data scientists away. So it's you got to lean into it, and that sometimes means that impacts the cost, the compensation that these people require. So you got to keep that in mind. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything new or shocking of me saying that. And I think you just got to really lean into it. And when you're going to change the way your company uses AI and ML, you've got to lean forward. You got to start to build a team that's big enough and has that capacity so that these brilliant, talented people have time to kind of think. And there's a little bit of an art to how you do this. And so you got to make sure you're building the capacity and you're investing enough to give them an opportunity to innovate and think. I don't, and you still got to tie them to here. This is what we're doing, but that's something to think about. It is just making sure you have enough capacity so that your teams can actually do really good, meaningful work and explore and try and do different things. And then the last, I just forgot my last point. The last point I was going to make, I forgot it. So it just escaped my brain. So
that's right. We're
not going to share that.
So we're coming up on time, and so I've got time for one more question. And again, since we've been able to talk in the ether, forgive me that this is just kind of a big open question. So you have the experience of having worked in across multiple industries in the data science space. But you ultimately chose to be in healthcare. Talk to us about why. Talk to us about why, out of all the different applications of AI and ML, that you chose healthcare, and what is special about this moment for this technology in this industry.
Wow, that's a great question, and it was an intentional decision because I thought, for me, going back to the value conversation I just had, I thought that's where, as a society in America, that's where the biggest need and opportunity was, where I thought AI and ML could make a difference. Healthcare costs have been rising unbelievably. People's access to care has been an issue. There's there's untold amounts. Obviously, with the passage of the ACA and everything, it's in the public discussion. And I just think that we, as a country, let alone a broader global society, this is an area where people's health is important. If I can, at the end of the day, when I go to bed at night and I'm thinking that I use some analytics to sell a product, that doesn't mean as much to me personally as if I used analytics to make a big cohort of people or a population of people more healthy. And so for me, it really comes back to, I never wanted to be a doctor. I really, it was for various reasons. But I've always been in analytics, and I just think this is a way to help doctors who I ultimately respect. I truly respect. The doctors are amazing for what they do, especially if you think of what they had to deal with over the course of the pandemic. And if I can help those doctors help make our society healthier and live better lives, what better way to focus on my time? And so it was a conscious decision back around 2012, 2013. That's just what I wanted to do.
Awesome. Well, Krista, thank you so much for this conversation today. If you, I encourage the people listening to please visit cdomagazine.tech for other interviews. But Krista, this has been an awesome conversation. Really appreciate you taking the time and sharing these insights. It's a great opportunity to be able to talk with a thought leader like yourself.
Well, thanks, Jake. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I definitely appreciate your time as well. So thank you.
Of course.